I'm a medical oncologist and also an outcomes researcher. And I clinically focus on prostate cancer, and my research in health outcomes focuses largely around patient-reported outcomes as well as drug regulatory policy. When I was a resident, clinically, I became very interested in medical oncology. I enjoyed taking care of the patient population. I found the issues involved with patient interactions to be very meaningful. Also, being a health services researcher, I found both the outcomes research questions and the health policy questions to be very interesting and important in oncology, and felt that I could have an impact in this area. So I was very fortunate to receive a Career Development Award from ASCO in 2007. This was an important award for me. It provided recognition of the viability and importance of the research question that I was posing. And being an outcomes researcher, this was an important stamp of approval from ASCO. But in addition, it provided important funding support in order to do initial pilot studies during the early phase of my mentored career, which then enabled me to apply for further peer-reviewed grant funding. The focus of my Career Development Award research was around different models for adverse event reporting in clinical trials, in oncology treatment trials, and particularly I was focused on models in which patients are self-reporting their own toxicities using a standard lexicon developed by the National Cancer Institute, the common terminology criteria for adverse events. And within the CDA research, I conducted a number of different pilot studies, and some of these were around comparing patient versus clinician reporting of adverse events. And interestingly, we found that patients tend to report adverse events more frequently than clinicians, and when patients do report the same toxicities as clinicians, severities are substantially worse. And this suggests that we as clinicians may in fact be underreporting both the prevalence and severity of adverse events compared to the patient perspective, which is increasingly considered the gold standard by regulatory agencies. And this was really the impetus for further research looking at models for patient self-reporting of adverse events, not only in oncology trials, but beyond, and led to further collaborative work with the NCI and also with the FDA. So the ASCO Cancer Foundation grants program, I think, is very important in oncology. It provides a mechanism for young investigators at various stages, very early on with the YIA and a little bit further along with the CDA, to gain vital research funding support in an area of interest. And it can be a real stamp of approval that allows a young investigator to stay within academia. My future research plans build upon both the pilot work I did under the CDA, but also subsequent funding mechanisms that built upon this. Currently, I lead an initiative under a contract to the National Cancer Institute to develop a standardized system for patient self-reporting of adverse events in oncology trials. And my future work really builds upon this work.